My parents chose my sister over me and kicked me out 5 years later. They're begging for my help to support her and her 4 kids. I'll never forget the day my parents kicked me out of the house. It was 5 years ago, but the sting of their words and the feeling of utter abandonment still haunt me. It all started with my sister, Amanda. She was the golden child, the one who could do no wrong in their eyes. And me? I was the scapegoat, the one who bore the blame for everything that went wrong. Amanda was always the center of attention. Whether it was her latest drama, her constant financial troubles, or her inability to make responsible decisions, my parents rallied around her, doing everything to protect her from the consequences of her actions. I, on the other hand, was expected to fend for myself. The breaking point came when Amanda got into yet another financial mess. She had maxed out her credit cards, borrowed money from friends she couldn't repay, and was on the verge of losing her apartment. My parents decided the best way to help her was to move her and her things into my room, without consulting me. When I confronted them, asking where I was supposed to go, my mom waved me off like I was a nuisance. "You're an adult now," she said. "You can figure it out. Amanda needs us more." The unfairness of it all was overwhelming. I had always tried to be responsible, working hard to contribute to the household, but none of it seemed to matter. My parents had made their choice, and it wasn't me. With nowhere to go, I packed my belongings and left that night. I stayed with a friend for a while, then worked multiple jobs to afford a tiny apartment. Life was tough, but I was determined to prove that I didn't need my parents or their support. Over the years, I built a life for myself. I earned promotions at work, moved into a better apartment, and even started saving for a house. I wasn't rich by any means, but I was stable and proud of what I had accomplished on my own. I rarely spoke to my parents during those years. Occasionally, they'd send a text or call to check in, but it always felt forced. They never apologized for kicking me out, and I stopped expecting them to. Then 5 years later, I received a call that would change everything. It was my mom. Her voice sounded strained, almost desperate. "We need to talk," she said. Reluctantly, I agreed to meet them at their house, the same house I had been forced to leave all those years ago. When I arrived, I was met with 2 faces that looked older and more tired than I remembered. My dad, once so confident and stern, now seemed frail. "We need your help," my mom said, cutting straight to the point. It turns out Amanda's life had spiraled even further out of control. She had 4 young children now, each with a different father, and she wasn't able to provide for them. She had lost her job, was drowning in debt, and had moved back in with my parents. They were overwhelmed, both financially and emotionally, and were struggling to keep up with the demands of raising 4 kids. "We know we haven't been the best parents to you," my dad said, his voice tinged with guilt. "But Amanda and the kids need help. We were hoping you could step in, maybe financially, or even take some of the kids in for a while." I sat there in silence, trying to process what they were asking of me. The same parents who had chosen Amanda over me, who had kicked me out without a second thought, were now begging for my help. "I don't understand," I finally said. "You didn't care about me when I needed you. Why should I care about Amanda now?" My mom's eyes filled with tears. "We made mistakes," she admitted. "We were wrong. But the kids are innocent in all this. They don't deserve to suffer." I looked at them, seeing the desperation in their faces. Part of me wanted to say yes, to be the bigger person and help those kids who didn't ask to be born into this chaos. But another part of me, the part that remembered the pain of being abandoned, screamed no. "I'll think about it," I said, standing up to leave. Over the next few days, I wrestled with my decision. I thought about the kids, about Amanda, and about my parents. Ultimately, I decided I couldn't let their choices dictate my life anymore. I called my parents and told them my decision. "I'm sorry, but I can't help," I said firmly. "You made your choice 5 years ago. Now I'm making mine." My mom cried and my dad tried to argue, but I stood my ground. For the first time in my life, I put myself first, and it felt empowering. I don't know what happened to Amanda and her kids after that. I imagine my parents found a way to support them, as they always had. But I no longer feel responsible for fixing their mistakes or bearing the weight of their poor choices. Sometimes, walking away is the only way to truly heal, and that's what I chose to do. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.